So yeah, we just need. Oh, welcome back to Around the World with Dane Waters. I am still here as your host. We have our next guest on there. I'm just trying to get to unmute yourself there, sir, so we can get started to talk about Nigeria and what's going on. We have with us Adedeji Doherty, and he's the national vice chairman of the PDP from the Southwest. And we want to find out what's going on with the Nigerian political system and political contest. So there you are. You're unmuted now. How are you,
Yeah.
sir?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Great, great, great. Well, listen, thanks for being on the show. And so here's the thing. I've done several shows, and we talked about what's going on politically, for the next election cycle there in Nigeria. And there was this whole issue with the INEC. And INEC was keeping some parties from participating and some candidates for participating. So kind of tell us where things stand. I mean, is there going to be an open and presidential election next year?
Well, thank you very much for having me this morning. I'm quite delighted to talk about this subject. Um, Personally, I think a lot of politicians are a bit lukewarm about the changes that are happening within the country, and especially on the political front. Um, Everybody seems to be taken aback with the different electoral guidelines, electoral reforms that are happening. And I think for us to be able to get ourselves together as a country and democratically, we need to keep our eye on the ball. And that means, we politicians have to be selfless in whatever we're doing. So I think I'll stop there right now and get more questions from you so that I can go further with what we're talking about.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's it's a very, I had some concerns about what was happening in Nigeria. I mean, and I'm not taking any favorites about any political party. Just be very clear about that. I mean, my whole goal and what we focus on is just free and fair elections. And that's what we want, open elections. And Nigeria has a history of some questionable elections, but so you're with the PDP. I mean, so in the presidential election, let's just deal specifically with the presidential election. Who do you think will be the major candidates from the various parties?
Well, I personally, I think we're going to have at least about two or three that are going to be out there battling this out. The first is the incumbent, and second will be maybe Peter Obi, who is coming out on the NDC. And then at the ADC, you're going to have Alaji Atiku, who is going to also be on the ballot. Um, we are going to also have Sanjay, who is going to be on the ballot also from the PDP. I don't know. I hear that Donald Duke is probably going to be on the ballot also from the SDP, and Sheyi Makinde, obviously from the APM. So I think those are the few that I know as of now. As far as the um, election in Nigeria being free and fair, to be honest with you, I think it's a constitutional um, problem. I believe that a lot of things are still wrong with our constitution, and I believe that a lot of things need to be changed for there to be a real free and fair election. For instance, the appointment of the chairman of INEC definitely is one that should come from maybe the judiciary or the judicial council or a collective. It has to change to a certain extent. The printing of sensitive materials being done by the INEC itself needs to be contracted out. The movement of sensitive documents, sensitive materials during elections, and the picking of the representatives of INEC during elections at polling units and at collating centers. All these things are, are all combined into one, has to go through a constitutional amendment process, and I believe it is after that is done is when we can really get a true, free, and fair election. And to point that out again, I don't believe you have 100% free and fair election in any country anyway. But definitely, if you are over 70% free and fair, I think that's good enough.
Well, I agree with you. Democracy is messy, as I like to say. I mean, nothing's ever easy. I mean, but at least you have the opportunity to practice it. I do share my concerns about INEC in that country, the independence of INEC, and some of the concerns. I mean, just this last issues that we ran into through INEC. I mean, was it political? Was it not? I mean, there needs to be some reform there, absolutely, in that regard. But let me ask you this politically. I mean, as we know, Atiku was a member of the PDP when he ran last time. Now he's with a different political party. Peter Obi had gone to that party, but now Peter has broken off and gone to another party. And many people argue, including myself. I mean, I argue that that Tinubu won because of the fight between Peter and Atiku dividing the electorate. And I was hopeful. I was really hopeful. Once again, this is not against Tinubu. I'm not against the president. I'm just saying, but a fair contest, it would have been great if there had been greater consensus among the political parties. But are you concerned that because of the fracturing of these, Atiku leaving for another party, Peter Obi somewhere else, and the PDP has I mean, do you think that that's going to dilute the opportunity to take on the president?
But obviously, you should also, when looking at the political equation in Nigeria, we look at the players in retrospect. Okay, one knows that Peter Obi is not that experienced politically, for the position he's going for. You understand, but he's able to go through the ethnic and the youth mobilization to be at least one of the three runners in this election. The other thing is that Atiku has been, I won't use the word serial, but he has been a consistent decimal within the political presidential space, which also holds quite a lot of sway in terms of electioneering, especially in the Northeast, in the North Central, and the Northwest, and funnily enough, a little bit of parts of the South, you understand, because he has some key people also in his team. However, having said all this, you do have an incumbent that is astute politically, has gone through the rank and file. He has been a senator, he's been a governor, a two-time governor, he's been a leader of a political party. Presidential candidates have emerged and lost, and some presidential candidates have emerged through his party and won election. You understand? So he does have a lot of space within the political space itself, having made up a team of former governors and sitting governors and two-time governors and members of high-placed government ministries in the country. You understand? Most of these ministers are also working. Some of them are performing above average, and some are not performing at all. So you have a mix in this particular incumbent that hasn't been in the play of presidential elections before in this country, apart from the 2023 election. So it is, if you look at it in terms of CV, and you look at it in terms of what the incumbent has been trying to do, you can have the negative parts and you can have the positive parts. But to my view, in this dispensation, he has a little bit of more positive than negative, looking at where we're coming from. Yeah, definitely the poverty level has gone up. Quite a lot of ill feelings within the Nigerian population. However, we need to understand that the government is a continuum, you understand, and we in the PDPA had gone into government having the military do what they had done to Nigeria, and we have tried through General Obasanjo, we've tried through Yaradua, we've tried through Goodluck Jonathan for 16 years. We have played a part. We're still going to play our part. We're going to have to look back and see where we missed it, and look at how we can fix this. However, within the politicians themselves, we need to be a bit selfless. We need to be, we need to open our arms to a sense of reasoning. We need to look deep into how oppositions can unite together to bring up one person that can now face the incumbent. I don't think setting up political parties or more political parties, I believe in a two-party system, really, but setting up 18 political parties, 21 political parties in this election is really, really, really a negative effect on voting out an incumbent. And I mean any incumbent, really, whether it be the APC incumbent, PDP, ADC incumbent. There are just too many political parties. I think these political parties have to zero down to one or two or three political parties for any meaningful change to happen democratically in this country today.
No, I agree with you. I think that there's what we call globally the power of incumbency. I mean, it's very difficult to get an incumbent out of office, and the more you split the vote among multiple political parties in the opposition, it makes it even more difficult. Let me ask this: do you think it was a mistake for Atiku to leave the PDP?
Well, to be honest with you, I was the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council in PDP for Lagos State for Atiku last in 2023. You understand? That's Atiku Okowa. And I can tell you for a fact that Atiku has left the PDP, I think in 2011. He did that, went to the APC, and then he also did that in just recently in 2024, 2025. His continuous dissociation or coming in and out of the PDP definitely has affected the PDP to a grand more than any other person. As a matter of fact, the Obi leaving again made it even worse, So I believe that, yes, you're correct. I can confirm that Atiku leaving the PDP definitely hurt the PDP.
Yeah, well, listen, I applaud your efforts. Listen, PDP has been a great party. And all there's a lot of great people in politics in Nigeria. A lot of people who care a lot about the future of the country. And I've always said this on multiple shows that I wish that some of these people could put their egos aside and work together for the betterment of the country. Once again, this is not anything against the President Snubu. It's just the reality for free and fair elections. There needs to be a free and fair contest. And I agree with that. Listen, sadly, we're out of time, but listen, I greatly appreciate your time. I applaud your efforts in working for free and fair elections, and I hope to have you back on the show again in the future. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So let's take a that's it for today. It's a great show, and I really appreciate. And listen, there's a lot going on around the world, and I think the importance of people participating in elections and free and fair elections is something that we need to focus on. And we as people need to continue to do what we can to keep the world a democratic and free space. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. All the best.